I've been getting a lot of requests to talk about some of the food that I eat on the ketogenic diet, and I thought that was a great idea for a video, so I want to share some of that information with you guys, not just pertaining to me prepping for my physique competition, but also this is kind of the same food that I eat on a daily basis while I'm on the ketogenic diet. The only differences here is usually I'll eat a lot of cheese items, I'll eat a lot of high sodium items usually, but since I'm prepping for my physique competition, I've decided to cut a lot of those out of my diet. So very few amount of dairy in my diet. There's also really relatively low sodium because I really don't want to hold on to or retain water during this time. So you'll see that some of the foods are just slightly altered a bit, but it's still high fat, low carb, following the general lines of the ketogenic diet. And so for those of you that are new to the ketogenic diet, just let me explain it a little bit. Basically, what the ketogenic diet is, it's a type of diet where you consume high fats and low carbohydrates and moderate proteins. And so the point is that you put your body into a state called ketosis. In this state, you're actually burning fat for fuel as opposed to burning sugar or glycogen that's stored for use for energizing your body. So in this case, you're actually taking all that stored fat that you have around your body and you're using it and breaking it down and using that for energy throughout the day. And so one of the things that I used to do, especially that I paired with the ketogenic diet, is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is an amazing tool that you can use also that really doesn't dictate how much you eat, but it dictates when you eat. So you still want to get in that full how many calories you have planned out for the day, 2,000 or 1,500 calories, however many calories you have planned, but you do it in an eating window. So basically, say for instance, if I want to eat an 8-hour window, then I'll eat somewhere around from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. at night. And then after that, I'll just sleep for the rest of the day, wake up again, and then at 12 p.m. the next day, I'll start to eat again. So that's usually what I used to do. But now that I'm prepping for my contest, I decided to kind of throw out intermittent fasting for right now because it was kind of cutting into my muscle. So I want to preserve as much lean muscle as possible. But if you're going to do the ketogenic diet, I really recommend implementing intermittent fasting into your diet because it really ramps up the fat burning and the weight loss. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the foods that I eat within a day. I'm going to start with breakfast and show you what a typical breakfast meal is, and then go through lunch and dinner meals. So the first thing I want to talk about though is Myfitnesspal. So Myfitnesspal is an app that you can use to track your macros and also your exercises for the day. So basically, what I usually do is I'll plan out all my meals using Myfitnesspal, and there's a really handy application within Myfitnesspal where you can actually type in recipes. Sorry about that. This is not the best method of recording. But see here, I can go to meals, recipes, and foods, and literally here I've put in already all my meals for the week. I've planned them out, and you can see here it'll break down the carbohydrates, it'll break down the fats and the proteins in each of those. And so these are the meals that I'm basically going to show you today. So I have keto, I have a bunch of meals like keto lasagna, keto pizza, a bunch of things, low carb pasta. Oh my gosh, so many items here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you one of my typical breakfast meals, and this is the egg muffin meal prep. So it's roughly 117 calories, and here you can see it's about 7.1 grams of fat, it's 1.8 grams of carbohydrates, and 10.8 grams of protein. So my husband actually creates these meals. He's a meal prepper for me, and what these egg muffins contain are, I think, mushrooms, peppers, onions, and bacon. And then I also throw in a half a cup of rice. And you might say, oh no, rice is not part of the ketogenic diet. And you are correct. It isn't, but I'm currently prepping for my physique competition. So I throw in a half a cup of rice because I actually need those carbohydrates. And this is really roughly the only carbohydrates you'll see that I add to my diet daily that are from a source that is not keto approved. But I also have butter here, and the type of butter I use, I want to talk about that also, is this Kerry Gold butter, pure Irish butter. It's this is the unsalted version, and I buy the unsalted version now as I prep for my competition, because I also told you earlier that I really want to have a bit of a low sodium diet. So I buy this version because it has 0 sodium added to it. Okay guys, so next up is a lunch item, and this is my rosemary marinated chicken with lemon and also broccoli. So this is roughly 188 calories. It has 3.7 grams of fat, has 3 net carbs, and 31 grams of protein. And so you're saying, whoa, that doesn't have any fat in it. And you're right, because this is actually one of the meal preps I use for training. But one of the things I do is I add fat to this by throwing in, first off, more butter. So usually I do a teaspoon of butter, or a tablespoon of butter actually. A tablespoon of butter is gonna add 14 grams of fat to this. And then also you can throw in something a little more fatty, and that would be coconut oil, which adds great flavor to food. But also, as you can see here, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil is gonna also throw in about 14 grams of fat. So this is another way that I'll fatten this meal up and make it even more tastier. Okay, moving on to another meal, which is a great lunch item or even a dinner item. This is my bacon wrapped chicken. So the bacon wrapped chicken comes in at 362 calories, and that's including the cream cheese spinach that you see here. So basically it's your typical chicken that's wrapped in bacon, and inside I think there are peppers and onions to add a little bit more flavor. And the cream cheese spinach is basically the most dairy I have in my diet besides the butter. And this has 19 grams of fat already, 6.6 grams of carbs, and 41 grams of protein. So very high protein, high fat, and excellent option for lunch or dinner. This is ground beef and a cup of riced vegetables, or basically riced cauliflower from Green Giant. And it's 4 ounces actually of ground beef. And this comes in at 292 calories total. It's 19.5 grams of fat. It is only 4 grams of carbohydrates, and it has 25 grams of protein. Okay, so now we're going on to another item that usually I eat around dinner time, because this one has a lot of calories and it's really high fat, good option here. So what I have here is salmon, and I believe it's about 5 to 6 ounces of salmon, and also roughly about half ounce of shrimp, and then mashed cauliflower. So this comes in at 550 calories. It has 43 grams of fat. It has 7 grams of carbohydrates. Actually, 2 of that is from fiber, so really only 3 grams of carbohydrates, or 4 grams of carbohydrates. And then protein comes in at 38 grams of protein. 2, 1, go. So here's another meal that I typically have, and this is tilapia with shrimp and broccoli. So this meal comes in at 380 calories, and it has 22.3 grams of fat. It has 4 grams of carbohydrates and 62 grams of protein. Okay, here's another dinner option. This is 5 ounces of skirt steak and a cup of mashed cauliflower. I usually throw in 1 tablespoon of butter to this. So this actually comes in at 728 calories, so very high calories. This is why I usually eat it around dinner time. It's 51 grams of fat, 1.3 grams of carbohydrates, and it's 61 grams of protein. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed my video and just showing you some of the foods that I typically eat. Before I go there, there's a couple of items I wanted to talk about that help supplement your diet, especially if you need to add a little bit more fat in it. One of these things is MCT oil. So MCT oil is usually extremely high in fat. It's about 130 calories per serving, and one serving of this is 14 grams of fat. I usually throw this into water. I drink it sometimes at lunchtime, or I might add it to a meal depending on if I feel like the meal just needs a little bit more fat. And for snacks, usually I'll just eat like a serving of almonds, so about 28 almonds, or I think roughly 1 ounce of almonds is usually about a serving. And so I'll have about a serving of this for snack, and maybe drink some MCT oil, and that's a good snack. Also, if you're into peanut butter is 100% keto, 100% awesome snack too. If you want to throw in some peanut butter into your diet, I wouldn't, One more thing I want to talk about is these Mission low carb tortillas. So I usually throw these into like breakfast time, or even sometimes at lunch. This is a good way to add some fiber to your diet. And also, if you're craving that bread that we don't normally get on the ketogenic diet, this is an awesome item to add to your diet. So this is 13 grams of carbohydrates, but it has 10 grams of fiber. So it actually comes in at 3 net carbs per serving. So adding this in, especially with MCT oil and then almonds, great snacks, great ways to throw in some fiber. Even maybe these low carb tortillas and some peanut butter, perfect combination to have a snack at lunchtime, or even in between lunch and dinner, or maybe in between breakfast and lunch. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thanks.